Most agents are stuck in a constant cycle, chasing the next shiny marketing idea, spending money on ads and leads that barely convert, and still struggling to get consistent clients. If that's you, I've got something that might just flip the script entirely, and I'm giving it to you completely free. It's a simple tool that examines the real ROI of your marketing so you can see exactly what's working, what's wasting your time, and where your hidden lead sources are already waiting. This is the exact same playbook I personally use to get real estate clients without spending a dime on ads or buying a single lead. And I'm not the only one. Hundreds of agents have already used this to rebuild their pipeline, boost their ROI, and finally feel in control of their business again. My name is Levi Jones. I'm the founder and head coach of Guerrilla Realty, and I created this system because I was sick of the hype, the noise, and the empty promises. I don't have a course to sell you. There's no high-ticket coaching offer coming. In fact, if you just like this video, share it with a friend and comment below that you did. I'll send you a private link with everything. The tools, the apps, the copy-paste scripts and ads, a full step-by-step course, even a live tutorial to walk you through the whole process we used to double our business 3 different times since 2019 and generate thousands of leads in the process. No catch, 100% free. Just real help for agents who are ready to build a real business. Here's what we'll cover in this video. First, name your ROI. Decide what kind of return you're actually aiming for. Most agents settle for any ROI, but smart agents set a target. Want a 10x return? Then you can only spend 10% of your revenue on lead gen. This tool calculates that for you based on your goals. Second, we're going to talk to you about how to compare apples to apples. Plug in your numbers. How much money are you spending? How much time? This tool takes all of that and shows you the real cost per lead, whether it's Zillow, door knocking, or postcards, so you can finally compare them side by side. And finally, I'm going to show you whether to keep it or kick it. If it doesn't hit your target ROI, you kick it. No more emotional decisions. No more, well, I got to lead once. You'll see exactly which strategies are worth your time and which ones to cut. Let me ask you a quick question. Would you try a marketing strategy that guaranteed a 2x return on investment? I want you to take a second to think about it and go ahead and drop a quick yes or no in the comments. No, really, go ahead and take a second. Okay, now let me ask the same question a different way. It's a little bit of a dirty trick. Would you spend 50% of your revenue on marketing? Same deal. Leave your answer in the comments. I really do want to know what you think. Now, really, go down there. Save it in the comments. Now, most agents answer yes to the first question and no to the second, even though they're basically the same thing. Because a 2x ROI means you're spending half of your revenue to get that return. That's why this first step is so important and why most agents stay stuck without even realizing it. You have to name your ROI. You have to decide in advance what kind of return makes marketing worth your time and money. Once you can name your ROI, you can reverse engineer how much you can afford to spend per lead and which strategies can realistically hit that number. And don't worry, I'll show you a free tool that will calculate all this for you so you don't have to guess. No math homework. This is how you stop chasing random ideas and start building a real marketing system that supports your goals. Now, you may have felt foolish when I asked that second question, but you shouldn't. In fact, most agents don't think about their ROI at all. So the fact that you were thinking through, 2x ROI sounds good, that already puts you ahead of most agents. So even though 2x ROI is not something that we can stomach, again, none of us are going to spend 50% of our marketing or our revenue on marketing. We need to think about what we should spend. Okay, we're going to actually get to name our return on investment, and then that's going to become our target, our goal as we examine different marketing options. So what should we spend? The reality is the Wall Street Journal a few years back did a survey of U.S. companies. Now, real estate is you're running a company here. And although your services, your costs are a lot different than other companies, it is important just to know how, just get us in the ballpark of what other companies are doing. So the U.S. companies spent 7.5% of their gross revenue on marketing every single year. Okay, this is from Nike all the way to Boeing to, again, you name them. On average, they spent 7.5%. Now, Real estate as a service company, our actual costs are a lot lower. So we can spend more money on it. We can potentially spend more money on marketing. I've read a lot of books on real estate marketing. I've read most of the coaches and gurus out there. Most real estate coaches, the experts of our industry, would say that you can spend up to 20% of your revenue on marketing. Now, that means that at minimum, if we're just following the advices of the coaches and the gurus out there, that we could spend up to, or our target ROI could be a 5x ROI. We could spend up to 20% of our revenue on marketing. Okay. I'm going to say that we can do better. Okay. I think that we can actually get a lot closer. We can start thinking of ourselves as a company, and we can get a lot closer to the national average for US companies. So our target, and will be the target for the remainder of this session today, will be a 10x ROI. In other words, we don't want to spend any more than 10% of our revenue on marketing. Now that you've named your ROI, the next step is figuring out which marketing strategies are actually worth your time and money. And that's where most agents get tripped up, because how do you compare something like Zillow leads to door-to-door knocking or open houses or running Facebook ads? They're all completely different, right? That's why we need a way to compare them apples to apples, using real numbers, not gut feelings or guesswork. And to make that easy, I built a simple tool that does all the math for you, factoring in both your time and your money, so you can see exactly which strategies are actually delivering the ROI you need. Let me show you how it works. So you can download this marketing evaluator for free at nerdsheets.com. I'll put a link in the description. But it's going to help us compare all advertising options with just a few simple inputs. The first thing that we need to think about is, what are the market realities that we're dealing with? So this yellow section where it says market factors, this is where we're going to put in the average home price and then the average commission side. Again, you're guesstimating here probably, but your MLS, it's probably somewhere between 2.5% to 3%. It might be a little bit lower depending on your market. The average home price nationally is about $460 right now as the time of making this video, but yours may be higher or lower. This is unlikely to change on a month-by-month basis, not by a whole lot anyways. And so, again, these are the market realities that you're dealing with. The second thing that you want to do in this green section here is you want to calculate what your time is worth, okay? And yes, you can do that. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, my time's not worth very much right now. I'm not working. Well, there's this concept called opportunity cost. If you remember back to your high school economics class, not home economics, economics. Opportunity cost is how much does it cost us? What could we spend doing something else? Okay, and so we're going to put in three inputs here: the target yearly income. Now, not what you're making now, but what you want to make. Okay, again, any marketing option should be through the lens, particularly if it's, hey, I'm considering this marketing option. It should be, can I make this target yearly income? And then the number of hours you work per week. Now, don't be a hero here and say, oh, I work 120 hours, unless you actually do, okay? And then finally, put in the number of weeks of vacation. Again, be realistic here. If you take a couple of weeks off, if you take nothing off, go ahead and put this input here. And the system will actually automatically spit out an hourly worth. Now, finally, there's an input here, and you don't have to change it. In fact, if you don't know how many leads per closing it takes, I would recommend that you leave that number 24 in there. Now, you might be going, where in the world did 24 come? Well, 24 came from the National Association of Realtors. They did a survey. They do surveys for real estate agents all the time. And that this is the average number of leads it takes for an agent to close a deal. Now, not all marketing options are the same in this regard. So, for example, it doesn't take me 24 referral leads to close a single deal. It might take me one or two, right? And so, as we're comparing marketing ideas, this is just another input that we can't adjust to make sure things are the same. Now, this is the blue section is the marketing idea itself. We're going to put three inputs here. We're going to put the cash cost, we're going to put the time cost in hours, and we're going to put the number of leads generated. Now, if this is a marketing option that you've already done, you know exactly what these numbers are. But maybe it's like you're calling up the Zillow rep and you're asking them, hey, what are go with their best estimates here. Now, when you put in the yellow section and the green section, it's going to calculate two numbers for you. It's going to calculate the budget per lead. This is the max amount of money you can spend on a per lead basis and still get 10x ROI. And then it's going to calculate your hourly worth. So it's going to put a dollar value on the number of hours that you spend. And so something like open houses, which may have a low cash cost, but a high time cost, is still it's going to allow you to compare apples to apples. The whole goal of this, of course, is to go from bad advertising to good advertising. So what does bad advertising look like? Bad advertising and bad advertising choosing is we choose based on a pitch or a feeling. We get that call from the sales rep. Oh, he's such a nice guy, such a handsome young man. And then we say, well, let's just try it out, right? And we jump from shiny object to shiny object. Okay. And the bad advertising also means we're just crossing our fingers. We're, trying it out. We're hoping for a result. And then the outcome is, if any result comes, if we generate a single deal from it, we're like, it must be a good option. And then we continue with it for forever, throwing tons and tons of money down the drain. Instead, I want to move from that paradigm to good advertising. What does good advertising mean? First of all, we need to know our budget per lead. Okay. So we don't guess. We don't go, oh man, the pitch was great. Such a handsome young man. Instead, we say, hey, this fits within our budget per lead. We find the exact per lead cost. So even on something that might be a little bit difficult to nail down how much per lead, we can use this tool to do that. And then finally, we get rid of anything that does not help us achieve the ROI that we set in, that 10x ROI. All right, so you've named your ROI. You've compared your options apples to apples. Now it's time for the most important step. Kick it or keep it. This is where you stop guessing, stop holding on to marketing that used to work, and start making smart decisions based on real numbers. If your strategy doesn't meet your ROI threshold, it goes, no exception. And if it does, you double down and scale it up. To show you how this works in real life, I'm going to walk you through 3 real life examples with real numbers. We're going to talk about buying Zillow leads. We're going to talk about open houses, and we're going to talk about Facebook Marketplace ads. And we'll run the numbers together to see which ones are worth it and which ones need to go. All right, we're going to look at Zillow leads first, and we're going to actually just run the numbers here. So first things first is I got to adjust my average home price. My average home price in my neck of the woods is not $600,000. So I'm just going to enter in it's $265,000. I know some of you are going, really? You can buy that? I can't buy a doghouse in my neighborhood for $265,000. Maybe so. You should move here. I'll sell you a house. Now, our average commission side is still 3%. So I can leave that at 3%. We're going to leave the how many leads per closing at 24. Again, that number comes from NAR. That's the average. That's what it takes the average agent to close a deal. That ends up being a closing rate of about 4 to 5% if you track it that way. The target yearly income, I'm going to be a little bit modest here. I'm going to say I just want to make $200,000. And you know what? I'm not, for the purpose of this example, I'm going to work about 50 hours a week. We'll leave it at that. I do not take 3 weeks of vacation. 2 weeks is plenty for me. That means I have an hourly worth of $80. Now, when I put in my market factors, I have now a budget per lead of $33.13. So any marketing option that costs more than that is going to be an absolute no-go. Now, where does that budget per lead come from? It means this is how much I can spend on a per lead basis and still achieve my 10x ROI. I named that up front. That's what I want to spend. I don't want to spend anything more than that. So let's look at Zillow. Now, it's been a while since I've messed with Zillow. So these numbers are going to come from actually several years ago. I don't buy Zillow leads anymore. I'm sure some of you are going to go, wow, there's not anything like that anymore. But this was their Zillow Premier Agent program. And for the zip codes that I wanted to work in, the cash cost was around $480. Okay. Now, some of you are going, wow, they're $1,200 in my market. Okay, maybe so. For me, the cash cost was $480. Now, the beauty of buying Zillow leads, and this is why so many agents still do it, is that it takes effectively zero time cost, right? You hand over your credit card information to the rep, and the cash cost, the time cost is effectively zero. It takes 5 minutes, okay? It's not something that you have to keep up with on a day-to-day basis. Now, this number, and my numbers varied, but I'm going to give Zillow the most charitable interpretation here. The rep told me that I would generate between 6 and 8 leads for this particular zip code. Now, we all know that that varies month to month. And then I've even heard stories of agents that say, well, it started out that way, and then after several months, I only got 1 or 2 leads. But I'm going to be very, very charitable here as I examine this marketing option of Zillow. Okay. The number of leads generated, let's say it's best case scenario of what the rep told me when I was looking into this option. He said that I could generate 6 to 8 leads. We'll give it 8 leads generated. Now, when I hit enter here, the tool is going to do the job for me. It's going to say, hey, we crunched the numbers. Is this a good option? And the reality is it's time to can it. Now, why? Let's look at the budget per lead. From my market, I can spend up to $33 per lead and be in my 10x ROI zone. In this scenario, the cost per lead was $60 per lead. Zillow absolutely can't do it. I actually think that you can close Zillow leads. The problem is the ROI is not there. And in fact, this is a very charitable view of Zillow leads. For the most part, agents are spending a lot more. They're getting fewer leads. And so the ROI looks even worse. All right, so now let's look at open houses. Open houses are the thing that every new agent is told to do. Most seasoned agents won't touch it with a 10-foot pole unless their seller specifically asks them to do it. But open houses are not to sell a house. The dirty little secret of open houses are, and none of us tell our sellers this, is they're to generate leads. They are a marketing option. Okay, I think most seasoned agents won't use open houses because we intuitively know something about it. We know that it doesn't meet our ROI, but I'm actually going to prove it to you with the numbers. Okay, so your average cash cost for an open house. Now, I'm not talking about the super mega open houses where you have 1,000 directional signs and you market it for weeks and weeks on Facebook and Google and YouTube and all those places. I'm talking about your average open house. Okay, it's going to have very, very minimal cash cost. We're going to call it $40. Okay, this is buying a candle, putting some cookies in the oven to bake to get that nice smell, and then we're going to put some balloons out front just to call the attention to the property. Okay. Now, this is not printing out directional signs or any of that kind of stuff. That would drive the cash cost way up. But I'm going to assume that you either already have directional signs or that you can borrow some from another agent that you work with, etc. Now, the time cost for your average open house, that's what really gets you. Now, I'm not going to do some special formula that Saturday hours are worth more than Friday hours. But your average open house, let's say it's 10 to 2 on a Saturday. That's 4 hours. Okay. Now you could say it's 6 hours. Whatever your open house cost, you can actually plug it into these to this evaluator. Now, I have never run an open house that generated more than 3 leads. And I know some of you are shaking your head and you're like, I've never generated a single lead, or I've only generated 1 lead from my open house. But I've never had an open house that generated more than 3 leads. And so I'm going to put 3 in there. But again, even if I were to put 8, it was already in there, what you end up finding is that you got to kick this marketing option. Okay. There are better things that you can do with your time and money to generate leads. Why? Again, let's look at our budget per lead. $33 a lead is how much I can spend and still get a 10x ROI. This open house costed me $120 per lead. Absolutely cannot do it. The ROI is terrible for open houses. Now, I'm going to give you one more marketing option that we're going to walk through. But again, you can plug in whatever marketing that you're doing, whether it's door knocking, cold calling, FISBOs. All you have to do is plug in these numbers here. So one option that we teach, and I'm a little bit biased here, but I'm going to actually just show you and walk you through the numbers, is Facebook Marketplace, running Facebook Marketplace ads. Now, I'll link to a video on how we do this strategy right here. But let's actually walk through the numbers. So the beauty of Facebook Marketplace is that it's completely free to post on. So our cash cost is $0. Now, some of you might be saying, well, I've watched that video, Levi, and it costs money. If you want to run it your way, you got to have Pipeline Pro Tools. And that's true. You don't have to have Pipeline Pro Tools, but it does make it easier and much more effective if you run it with our Pipeline Pro Tools. Now, as of when we are posting this video, April of 2025, the most expensive way to purchase Pipeline Pro Tools, and I'm going to go with that number, is our monthly payment option of $289. And it comes with all the stuff you need: high converting lead website, phone and text lead magnets, etc. Again, you don't have to have that to run Facebook Marketplace ads, but I'm trying to give you the charitable view for something that I'm biased on. Okay. So $289. Now, the time cost, it does take some time. Okay. So it doesn't cost us any money to actually run these ads, but to have a good, ad generator and high converting website, you got to have the cash cost. The time cost, let's calculate this out. I need at least 6 ads running at any given time. Now, to keep 6 ads running, first I got to write and post those 6 ads. And I would say that if I were to spend today and tomorrow doing that, 3 ads today, 3 ads tomorrow, I could probably knock those out. I could do them in about 10 minutes. But I would say your average agent, it would take about an hour. I can do them in 10 minutes only because I've done hundreds and hundreds of these. But let's say it takes a full hour, and then you got to renew them once a week. That takes about 5 minutes. And then in order to make, in order to really generate leads, you got to be able to reply to the messenger, responses that you get. Let's say that takes about 5 minutes per day. 5 minutes per day times 30 days over the course of a month. That's 150 minutes. I think that ends up being about 2.5 hours. So I'm going to put 2.5 hours is our time cost. In fact, you know what? Let's just round it up to 3 hours in time cost over the course of a month. Now, if I only generated 3 leads from this, it would not be worth it because my cost per lead would be $176.33. Now, with 6 ads, I've actually generated up to 162 leads, but that's not normal. Okay. I'm also very experienced with writing ads and keeping up with them and all that kind of stuff. So that is not a normal experience. I would say any agent can easily generate 50 leads though. Okay. You may not be able to generate 162 leads with 6 ads, but any agent, even doing it wrong half the month, can generate 50 leads running Facebook Marketplace ads. So I'm going to hit enter and it's going to tell me whether it's a good option or not. And the answer is, of course, it's a good option. If I can generate 50 leads, even considering that cash cost, even considering the 3 hours that I'm going to spend on it, the cost per lead is $10.58, which is well below my budget per lead. What is that budget per lead? Again, it's the amount of money I can spend on a per lead basis to achieve that 10x ROI. Thanks so much for sticking with me through this video. I really hope it gave you some clarity on where your best leads are actually coming from. If you're ready to take action and want the complete swipe file, including the free tool, the apps, copy and paste ads, scripts, and step-by-step resources to implement the very same system we used to double our business 3 different times since 2019, Here's what you do next. Just like this video, share it with a friend, and comment below that you did. Once you've done that, I'll send you a private link to access everything 100% for free, no strings attached. And if you want more videos like this, real strategies to help you get consistent real estate clients without burning money on ads or leads, go ahead and subscribe to the channel now. We've got more coming that you don't want to miss. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Look, we've doubled our real estate business 3 times since 2019. If you want the full breakdown, exact scripts, step-by-step processes, and our brand new tool, drop a comment below.
No gimmicks, no paywalls. We're sending it completely free because we know it works.
Just type "send it" in the comments and we'll get it to you ASAP.
And if this was helpful, stick with us. We're dropping more strategies twice a week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next.